Do you have a business or do you have a hobby? So you may have turned your hobby into your business. You may even be making sales. When people talk to me about this issue, they always bring up their sales or their taxes or their income, but that's not the answer to this question. You can have a business and not have made a dime yet. You can have a hobby that makes some money. So the question is, do you have a business or do you have a hobby? Welcome to episode 150 of Explore Your Enthusiasm with me, Tara Swiger. I'm super happy to have been with you for 150 episodes. To celebrate this milestone, I decided to go back and dig deeper into a topic I covered in one of my most popular videos, which is, do you have a business or do you have a hobby? Now, I have to say that this is in part inspired by the show Bar Rescue. I don't know if you guys watch it, but it is a bar expert, goes into these bars that are failing and he turns them around. He not only renovates it, which is what people think it's about, but he actually teaches them how to be business owners. And invariably someone is like, I don't want to make that change. I don't like it. He says, do you have a business or do you have a hobby? Now, John Taffer is a very in-your-face kind of person, so he tends to scream it at people. But I'm not going to scream it at you, but the question is an important one. And this is a tough love question. Do you have a business or do you have a hobby? So I get emails every week asking, is this class or book for me? Should I do X or Y? Should I worry about Instagram Live? And if you've told me nothing about your business and you just say, is this for me or should I do this? The thing I always ask back is, do you have a business? Are you trying to build a business? And invariably, people respond with their sales or their questions about getting a business license or their taxes. But that has nothing to do with the question. The question about whether you have a business or whether you have a hobby comes down to you and your mindset and how you treat it. There isn't a certain dollar amount that you flip over from a hobby to a business. There is nothing that will flip you from a hobby to a business. Sometimes people think if I had my patterns published in a magazine, if I got featured, if Oprah had me on her show, it would be the difference between a hobby and a business. No, you are the thing that decides if the thing you're doing is a hobby or a business, and nobody is going to make that switch but you. And the reverse is same. I see people flip their business into a hobby by the way that they treat their business. So we are going to talk about the difference between a hobby and a business, and it really comes down to three things. But before we do, I want to be clear, do not get me wrong. The IRS has very specific guidelines about what counts as a business and what counts as a hobby. They want you to claim all of your income, whether it's a hobby or not. If people are paying you money, the IRS wants to know about it. If it doesn't make profit and they don't want you to keep claiming your expenses after 5 years, they'll call that a hobby. But here's the thing. I am not an accountant. All of this info, what I just said, can be found at irs.gov. You are not coming to me for me to tell you if you are considered by the U.S. government to be a hobby or a business. You want to know, is it legitimate or not? And by the way, go to irs.gov, read about what they say about claiming your expenses, about their business versus hobby. But no, it can still be a business in your own mind. You can still treat it like a business until it's profitable. And I keep saying IRS, but this is true for the government organization of wherever you live. Don't ask me, go ask your government and follow their laws. So like I said, the business versus hobby question is not about how much money you make. It is about your own mindset towards the business. So over the years, I have discovered that three things, that real business owners have these three things in common. The first one is you have a vision. What I mean by this is that you have something bigger in mind than just, oh, I could sell this. I can make some money from this. You have a vision for what you want to create, usually in your own life and also in other people's lives. Now, I've talked in past episodes about the difference between an internal and an external mission. Most of us start with one and then kind of build on the other. So I'll tell you, my vision for my first company, Blonde Chicken Boutique, selling handmade yarn, was that I could quit my day job and I wouldn't have to keep doing it. I had already worked as a manager for a small business, like the store manager, doing hiring and firing. And I knew that I had skills, business management skills, that I was not able to get another job doing, and I did not like being a secretary or making what I was making. So my vision was to move me out of that, for my company to grow to replace that day job salary, and for me to get basically rewarded for the amount of work and smarts and effort I put into it, which I was not seeing was going to happen in a day job. And I really hated wearing black slacks. So my vision was no more black slacks, no more having to fit in with people who I don't feel like I fit in with just to make like everybody feel happy and comfortable, and making enough money to replace my day job so I could do my own thing, which is why I dyed my hair hot pink right after I quit my day job, because that was a major part of my vision, is I can just dress and do and be my weirdo self. That was my vision. Over the course of years, that vision has shifted. Now, the vision is that it supplies everything that my little family needs. Everything. It's our sole income. So yay, met that. But also that it makes an impact in the wider world. Specifically, and this is my external mission, specifically that it helps women grow in confidence and self-trust so that they can build their own businesses around their own passions if it's something that they want to do. And so it's not just empower women to have businesses, but specifically businesses built around their passion, where they trust themselves and they are their own business expert. So the short version of my vision is helping makers, artists, and passionate people become their own best business expert while providing all of the needs of my little family and I, and that includes my husband having a job he loves, owning a comic book shop, and us being able to do whatever travel we want to do. But the short version is just basically fulfill all of our needs and let us have a flexible, fun life. So that's my vision. Your vision, if you're just starting out, might be bigger, or it might be smaller, or it might be fuzzier, right? You might start your business because you have a vision for what you're going to do in the world. Your external mission is very clear. Like I was just talking to somebody about growing her business, and she said, we don't really need the money, but I want to support a family that she knew in Africa who I believe were missionaries. And I actually was just talking to somebody else about their family who lived in Kenya, and they owned an orphanage, and they wanted to support the orphanage and build it so it could support families whose parents died of HIV and AIDS. That's a super clear, awesome, big external mission. I found that your vision will eventually need to encompass both. You'll both want to know like what you're doing in your own life in order to keep you going when things are hard. You have to see the benefit, and then also the external mission, because that will drive you when you get sick of yourself and you think, well, what's the point? I could just go work a horrible job. The external vision can help you with that. But you don't have to know either of those clearly and perfectly like the examples I've given you, because they're going to change and shift and grow as your business changes and shifts and grows. But if you don't have some bigger vision, it's probably just a hobby. So if you just really enjoy doing a thing and you like making a little money on the side so that you can buy more supplies, and you don't have like a vision of where you see it going, I want to say this too. A vision, what I mean by you having a vision, the vision can be, I want to make it a sustainable business. I want to have clients or customers that I serve and make happy and that pay me because they value what I do. A vision could also be, I want to be a non-starving artist. I want to make X dollars a month because then I can thrive and make my art full time. That's a vision. If you don't have a vision, you probably have a hobby. Now, the second difference between businesses and hobbies is that you are willing and eager to do the hard work of having your business. Now, this one is unpopular, but here's the thing. A hobbyist gets excited maybe about the new challenge of selling on Etsy or listing designs on Ravelry, or making some money off of something that they're excited about. And so they do it when they feel like doing it because it's good and it's exciting. Eventually, everything in life that was once exciting stops being as exciting and new. Everything, whether it's school or it's work or a job or your dogs or your marriage, something that's super exciting in the beginning loses its luster over time. A hobbyist only works when they feel excited about working, or when they are really into it, or when they are just like, oh, I'm going to do this. A business owner is willing to do the work even when they don't feel like doing the work. When it's not fun and it's not exciting and you have to figure out your taxes, or well, everybody has to do their taxes whether they like it or not. Something that a business owner has to do is figure out how to effectively communicate your marketing message, or figure out what your profit margin on your products are so that you can see if it's actually sustainable, or figure out how to freaking get your website to integrate with this software. Now, I'm not saying that you have to be willing and eager to do all of the work on your own, but you have to be willing and eager to get the problem solved. So whether that's you figure it out and solve it, or you hire someone to figure it out and solve it, you realize that the only way to have a business is to do it even when it's not fun. And the reason why I use the words willing and eager is because you can absolutely force yourself to slog through something, but someone who really wants to create a business and has that clear vision, they're going to act, even when the thing isn't fun, be willing to do it. So there is a lot of like weird admin stuff and spreadsheets and making sure that everybody who wanted a thing, got a thing, or wanted an email is tagged right in my email service provider. That's not fun, but I'm willing to do it because it's going to make my business better. It's either going to make it better for me or it's going to make it better for the person who signed up to get those emails. So there are always things that I'm changing and fixing and moving to new software to improve it, either to make my business like more sustainable or make more money, or to make the experience for the person who purchases a thing better or more delightful. And I am willing and eager to do that work even when it's hard because I care so much about it. So if you're not willing and eager to do the work of a business, then it's probably a hobby, and that's okay. Now, the third thing that business owners are different from hobbyists is that they're in it for the long haul. Here's the thing. In my experience, any business can succeed given enough time of consistent effort focused on the right actions and that pays attention to improving and serving the customers. Even the weirdest business, right? Even the most random art or the weirdest product, if you do consistent action that is effective, the right action, and you focus on serving customers and improving for them, you can build a business from it. It's been 100% my experience, even working with makers who make weird things. But a hobbyist will list something on Etsy or list products or patterns on Ravelry and just chill out, wait, see what happens. And when they don't make any sales in 6 months, they'll say, well, that was a failure. And often those people will then say to other people, you can't make money doing this. I tried it and there's no way to make money doing this. A business owner is going to start out the same way, list products or patterns, get them in a shop, and then realize, holy crap, there's a lot more work involved in this. So they learn all about marketing and profitability and time management, their own mindset. They make changes where they need to make changes, and they continuously improve things. They try new things, they take action, and they talk to potential customers. If they're not finding any potential customers, they start doing research on the people who they thought would like this and actually speak to them and find out. Then they make more changes. And if after 6 months they don't have any sales, they'll look honestly at what they did, say, well, did I really work hard and continuously at this? And then they'll try something else. They'll either create a new product, they'll take new photographs, they'll make new product descriptions, or they'll try a new marketing tool, or they'll realize I was all wrong about audience and they'll shift and focus on a different audience. Here's the thing. Over the last 7 years of me working with handmade businesses and artists and yarn shop owners and essential oil lovers, I can tell you this for absolutely certain. I've never met a business owner who was actively learning and experimenting and doing the work who didn't make a single sale in 6 months or even 3 months. While I was writing this, I went back and I thought real hardcore about this. Now, I want to say that doesn't mean that they had the level of sales that they wanted just because they were doing the hard work, right? That might require more work, different work, more consistency, more experimenting to find what works. But I have never worked with somebody who was putting in the work, learning the things, trying, and who just had 0 sales. Every time I've come across somebody and I've talked to somebody who's been having 0 sales for 3 or 6 months, when we go back and we look at what they did, they weren't doing the work of having a business. Now that's okay, but what I'm saying is this. You have to ask yourself, do I want to make this a business or is this my hobby? And here's the important thing for you to understand. Either one is fine. It's totally fine. Lots, many, thousands maybe of people think that they want a business. They do the work to start it, and then they realize they're not willing and eager to do the rest of the work to keep it going. That is A-okay. I am on board with that. You need to know what you want to do with your time and your life in order to have a happy life. That means, though, stop beating yourself up for not having a better business if you actually don't want to have a business. Part of the reason I do this, is it a business or is it a hobby, both one-on-one when I talk to people like via email or at conferences. The reason I'm putting it in a podcast episode is because I want you guys to realize, hey, maybe I don't want to have a business, and then go on and spend your time and enjoy it. So just go back and enjoy your hobby and have a good time making it. Everyone doesn't need to be an entrepreneur in order to enjoy their life. I feel like there's a lot of entrepreneurship is great and wonderful, and all these people made millions of dollars because they're a tech entrepreneur. There's a lot of stories out there now about that, but that doesn't mean it's for everyone. In the same way that if I meet an alpaca farmer and they freaking love having alpacas and it's made their life fantastic, that doesn't mean I am going to be happy having an alpaca farm. And doesn't mean I need to be a farmer. Being an entrepreneur is exactly the same. It's just another job description, but without a lot of structure. But that's the thing. I don't need to be a lawyer to be really happy. I have a friend who loves being a lawyer. I don't need to do it. I know I don't need to be a shop owner and be like a shop girl in order to be super happy, but it's something my husband absolutely loves, to go to the shop each day and talk to people and serve them. So knowing that, you can then choose how to move on and be happy. Now, if you know you want to have a business and you feel like, I do want a business, but I've been treating it like a hobby. Either I don't have a vision, or I haven't been willing and eager to do the work, or I have been too short-sighted and not in it for the long haul. Let's talk about how you make that mindset shift. Okay? First, big permission to not have a business. So you all know, if you've been listening to the podcast for a while, you probably know this. This podcast is specifically aimed at people who are wanting to make it a business. I specifically make products and services and podcasts and workshops for people who are willing and eager to do the work and maybe just don't know what the work is. So if I have people email me and say, I've been listening, but I don't have a business and I feel like maybe I should. No, don't feel like that. This is just aimed at people who already know that's what they want, or who are getting to know that's what they want. So if you want to treat it more like a business, but you've been treating it like a hobby, here are some things to shift your mindset. So first, you need to ask yourself, and I think that this alone is going to shift for a lot of you people. So if you've been treating it like a hobby, you want to treat it like a business, you need to ask yourself this question. Are you comfortable doing hard work without immediate reward? This is my favorite question. Would you be willing to do unpaid work, the work it takes to build your business, unpaid work for 6 months if you knew you'd make a fair salary within 3 years? Doing work you love and work you're excited about and work related to your passion. If not, that's fine. Entrepreneurship and having a business based on your passion probably isn't the right path for you to go down. And by the way, there are many, many life situations where doing unpaid work for 6 months in your nights and evenings is not doable. Know that about yourself if that's where you are, and realize that's all right. That's totally fine. Don't get seduced by the wonders of having a business or making money doing what you love or passive income. Recognize where you are and what you're okay with. Now, lots of people say yes to this question. They'd be willing to do unpaid work for 6 months if they knew within 3 years they'd get a fair salary doing exactly what they love to do. They say yes, but then they don't actually do the unpaid work to build the business that would pay them fairly. Okay? They get impatient for the reward and they aren't willing to put in the time. And if that's you, that's okay, but I want you to get clear, have some awareness, recognize that's you, and ask yourself, can I be more patient and put in the work and trust that if I'm doing the right work and I'm listening to my customers and I am making changes based on what they're telling me, and I'm not just keeping my head in the sand thinking I'm always right, but I'm willing to make changes and shift it till I serve my customers right, I just need patience. It's funny because I was just talking about this unpaid work thing with Jay, because he has worked unpaid at the comic book shop that we're buying for longer than a year. And we were talking about it and he was saying that it's frustrating, and most people think it's a really bad decision. But for him, he knows it's the way he's been able to learn the business and the way he's earning equity in the business. So it'll cost a little less when we buy it. And it's worth it to him. If he gets to have a comic book shop for 25 years and he had to work unpaid for a year, totally worth it. So as we were talking about this, I then turned on a Gary Vee video, and he said at the beginning of the video, you have two choices, patience or quit. That's what this question comes down to. If you're frustrated that you're not getting the immediate reward in your business, you have two choices. You can be patient or you can quit. Now, if you can get on the board with the idea of not seeing an immediate reward for your effort, you are very likely on board with building a business and not just having it a hobby, because you want to make money doing the thing you love that bad, you're willing to put in the work. Then you're already halfway towards having a business and not just being a hobby. So the next thing is to go back to those three things that business owners have in common that's different from hobbyists. The first thing we talked about is having a clear vision. So you get clear on your vision. Ask yourself, what is it I'm trying to build? If I'm a hobbyist, I'm just doing it because it's fun in the moment. If I want to build a business, I need to have a bigger thing I'm building towards. And again, that can be internal, like I want to make X amount for me and my family, and then really think through, what will that money do for your family or in your life? What will that give you? Or it can be an external mission. I want to give $100,000 to Feeding America this year. Okay. And by the way, it could be, I want to give $10 to Feeding America. I want to have, if you were in a situation like we were in for years, I just want to have enough extra income that I could donate without, like not paying my bills. That totally legitimate external reason. So it's the thing. If you are down with doing unpaid work to build your business, the next thing is for you to make a vision that can keep you going through that time when you just need to be patient. And that's going to be different for everybody. I can't tell you what that is. I can just tell you, think about the internal reasons, like for your own life, and then think about the external reasons, what you want to bring to people. I will tell you this. I find that internal missions are easier to motivate you when things are really bad. If your mission is entirely external, and maybe it's philanthropy based, or maybe it's like mine is to help women become their own best business experts, that can feel kind of vague when I'm having a day where I'm really struggling with depression, or when my dog starts out the day by throwing up on my favorite shoes. True story. So the internal mission is something that's a lot closer to home, and it's a lot easier to tap into. Then when I'm wondering, why am I doing this for the 100th time? Whatever I'm doing that's dealing with software that's making me frustrated, I think about the external mission. Frankly, I think of all of you. If you've ever emailed me or commented on an Instagram post, I'm thinking of you, and that's keeping me going. So get clear on your vision and then bring it up. Remember who you're doing it for, what you're going to do in your own life, and what you're going to do in other people's lives. And then it's what we talked about, being willing and eager to do the work. You got to get willing to do the work. We talked about this a little bit, and being, understanding that your payoff is going to come later and not immediately, and getting used to that. But I want to tell you this, it may take you a while to figure out what the work of your job is. It's the hard thing about starting your own business, is nobody comes along and is like, this is exactly what the work is. Just do this job every day. Right? When you get a job with a company, people tell you like, okay, your position does X, Y, Z. This is how you do it. Go do it. But that's the first thing you have to do in order to build your business, is figure out what is the work of this business. So I'm going to give you a rundown on what it is for many of you. It's making products. It's taking photographs of the products. It's listing the photographs, putting them in your shop, sharing your vision with your people, regularly inviting them to your products or your services. That's the work. Those are the things you have to do. And you're going to have to figure out what the details of that is for you and what is most effective for you. Is it most effective for you to list on Etsy versus Ravelry versus your own website versus Shopify? Does this photograph do better than this photograph? Do you have photography skills and do you need to work on them? That is the work of having the business. And you need to get to the point where you can feel eager about doing that because you care so much about your vision. Now, you have to be willing or else you're just a hobbyist. If you're like, well, I don't feel like doing that, and that's what you say to everything, then it's a hobby. Now, I talked to a family member just recently who wanted to sell her handmade stuff. And she said, well, I would do that, whatever I told her. Well, you need to do this. She was like, well, I do that, but I just hate listing things on Etsy. Okay, but that's having a handmade business. So if you're not willing to do that, if you just hate listing things on Etsy so bad, then you're not going to have a handmade business unless you come up with a different solution. Instead of saying, well, I'd sell my art, but I just hate listing things on Etsy, you'd say, well, I hate listing things on Etsy, so I'm going to look at Craftshiz, I'm going to look at Shopify, I'm going to look at WooCommerce, I'm going to look at going to my farmer's market, right? So it's not that you have to like the way other people are doing it or do what other people are doing, but you have to twist that question till you can find what you're going to be willing and eager to do. So instead of, I do it, but I hate XYZ, say, okay, if I hate XYZ, what are some other solutions? In some cases, there just aren't other solutions. Like if you just hate marketing, well, you got to find people to buy your work and you got to learn to talk to them and communicate with them. Maybe you need to reframe what marketing is. I have 2 podcast episodes about reframing, so you can listen to those. But you need to find out how to make yourself willing and eager to do the work, or else you don't have a business, you just have a hobby. And then the last piece is committing to that long haul, deciding whether I am profitable in 2 months or I'm profitable in 2 years. I'm going to figure out how to make this sustainable and profitable and fulfill my vision, whatever that is for you. So that means you do the math to figure out the profit margins, both micro and macro. Then it means you figure out how to get the sales to make that math work out. Once you have the pricing right, do you have the sales to make that all work out and you hit your break-even point? And then you figure out what's the next step and how do you become more consistent and how do you make it better? That's committing to the long haul, realizing it's not about making your first sale or your 10th sale or making your first $10,000. It's about you are now in this. It's a process that you are always going to be working on and improving and learning, and that's having a business. So the difference between is it a business, is it a hobby, is not an amount of money. It's your mindset. It's, are you committed to the long haul? Do you have a bigger vision that's driving it? Or is it just like, I think this would be fun? Or, and rather, are you willing and eager to do the work that it takes to make it a business? So I hope this discussion and this tough love helped you figure out what it is you want to do with your time and your energy and your life. And I hope that you understand that no matter where you come down, one is not better than the other. One is not a direction you should be trying to go in, and the other one is not, and you should avoid it. They are both equally good. There are a lot of people who have a huge passion and hobby, and they create massive followings or Instagram accounts or YouTube channels about their thing they're impassioned about, and they have no desire to build a business around it, and that is totally cool. I am on board with you exploring the things you love in any way you want to, and that doesn't always mean that it's profitable. And that's okay. I hope that this helped. You can go and download this transcript along with these questions if you need to read them back to yourself or you need to talk to somebody else that you love through this process. You can find them at taraswiger.com/podcast 150 because it's episode 150. So find the transcript there. You will also get access to, when you sign up there to get the transcript, you're also going to get an email with the accounting software I use, so you can keep track of your numbers and not cry when it's tax time, and the spreadsheet I use to track my numbers and my growth in my business. I hope you have a fantastic, profitable day, and I hope you have a really good time with both your hobbies and your business.